On September 11th, 2001, I was working in Brooklyn, New York, a few miles from Ground Zero. I remember that day for lots of things that happened, but I particularly remember how I needed to run from my office to the 4th floor to watch as the second plane crashed live into the tower, killing many of my friends. Several of the firefighters and police officers who were there and responded that day were also friends of mine. And I recall quite distinctly in that moment at that time, looking back and wondering, how are we ever going to rebuild from this? In October 2012, my wife and son were in our home in Oceanside, New York, as Superstorm Sandy came crashing ashore. And once again, I recall looking back as the floodwaters filled our home in Oceanside, destroying much of our property and our home, and asking myself, how can we ever rebuild? These last several months, our entire world has been consumed by a global pandemic. All that we do and all that we are, no matter where we go, it seems to be that which encompasses our life's experiences. And once again, so many of us find ourselves, including myself, asking, how can we ever rebuild? When I think about those questions about rebuilding, about coming together, it brings to mind community and what it means to be a community of faith, a people of faith. That brings me to mind of a gospel passage, one of my favorite ones from the Gospel of John. It says, "My children, I will be with you only a little while longer. You will look for me, and as I have told you, where I go, you cannot come. And so now I say it to you, I give you a new commandment. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you also should love one another. This is how all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." That passage from the Gospel of John is one that I've leaned upon in my life to remember how it is that we rebuild. We come back as a Christian community. It's when we love one another. It's when we express and experience that love together for one another. Recently, I was with a group of friends from our Beach Catholic community for a Sunday evening group of reflection. And what we talked about on 3 consecutive Sunday nights were martyrs, Marianism, and miracles. From martyrs to miracles, we called it. This was our ode to the Beach Catholic community, the parishes of St. Ignatius Martyr, St. Mary of the Isle, and Our Lady of Miraculous Medal. My brothers and sisters, when we talk about the devastation of 9/11, of Superstorm Sandy, and now of this global pandemic, the common factor we have as a Beach Catholic community of how we will rebuild is to do so as Christians who love one another, take care of one another, and reflect on the meaning of being a member of a Beach Catholic community. Take care of one another and follow the passage of Christ and in the Gospel of John. Love one another as he loves you, and that is how we will build.